this was a huge deal for us to try to update the motorcycle, keep the connection to the legacy, keep the connection to 120 years of Harley-Davidson, but also make sure that the bike is obviously brand new in every view that we can possibly make it look new in.
So I am chief engineer for touring. There's probably 100 engineers back at the PDC that are super excited as I am. A couple of themes though, you're gonna see performance, comfort, infotainment, and tech.
Hi guys, welcome to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Tiffany Renee. If you're returning, thank you guys for coming back. Y'all, I have so many people that asking me, how do I love the 24s? Like, do I actually like the bike? And I'm here to tell y'all, like, my answer is still the same. I do love this bike, but after having this bike for about, 7 months now, and about a little over 8,000 miles or so on it, I got a little bit more acquainted with the bike. And so I picked out five things that I absolutely love about this bike. Even though there are several things, I only want to narrow down and give you guys 5 things. And these 5 things I want to tell you guys about, they're in no particular order at all. They're just at random way, just kind of sort of how they come up. So I'm just gonna run down that list, tell you why I like these things. So we're gonna start with number 1, y'all. So number 1, I absolutely love the new headlights that come on the 2024 Road Glides. That is one of the things that made me fall in love with the bike. On the previous models, mostly everyone, including myself, on my 21 Road Glide that I have, I changed out the headlight because I wanted a brighter headlight. So I guess Harley-Davidson learned that, and they actually put the LED headlight on these bikes, and they are really bright. That's just with the dim lights. But when you switch to the bright lights, they're even brighter. So I love that, and I'm the type of person, when I get out and ride, most of the time, I'm gonna get out and ride early in the morning before daylight hit. So having a headlight that's super bright, and I love how it actually illuminates from one side of the fairing to the other side. So it's pretty much kind of like almost a whole fairing. Not as much as on the street glide, but on the road glide, it's still, from one side of the fairing to the other, you still have illumination riding down the road. So with them giving you already the bright LED light, that eliminated one of the modifications that you would normally do on your bike. So I'm excited. I was excited about that part. So I absolutely love that. Moving on to number 2, and number 2 is the infotainment center here.
It is the Skyline OS system, and I'll say the heart of it is a 12.3-inch touchscreen TFT. So it is fantastic, kind of the star of the show in terms of the cockpit, in terms of upgrade of infotainment and the look of the vehicle. 400% more screen area, awesome, but then it also gets rid of your gauges, right? This functions as infotainment and gauges all at once.
Now this screen on this model, on the 2024s, they are a 12.3-inch screen, and believe me, like, I thought I was in love on my 21 that I had, my 21 Road Glide. I was in love with that screen because I was like, oh, it's so big, it's so nice. And then you get this one. And this one is, like I said, a 12.3-inch screen. And I love how everything is digital on it. Even modifying or even just changing out your display. You can display your map, you can put CarPlay. You have so many displays and so many things that you can customize it and make it to whatever you want it to be.
One of the things I also love about this is it gives you an opportunity based on the type of ride that you're going on, based on the mood that you're feeling, right? Really customize the screen to what you want to do for the day, what you want to look at. I'll say the more traditional setup is the cruise, right? You've got a speedo on the left, you've got a tachometer on the right, you've got some infotainment in the middle. Sport, right? It puts the tachometer front and center. So in other words, you're going to be keeping track of your RPMs. You want, speed kind of gets so, de-emphasized. Tachometer is the thing that is in the middle of the screen. And then similarly for tour, right? You're going out, you want map front and center. It takes everything all, scrunches it to the left side of the screen, and the map becomes the focal point for your ride.
So I'm totally in love with that. Even when you're out riding in the daytime, in the daylight, you think you would get a glare and you wouldn't be able to see your screen as well. But riding in the daytime, you still see your screen just as much as you can see it when you're riding at night. So I thought that was a plus, and I was loving everything about that. And while I'm up here talking about the infotainment center and the screen and everything, that moves me on to point number 3. So number 3, I love the modes that you can change to on the 2024 models?
So for 2024's Street Glide and Road Glide, they now come standard with ride modes. So we offer the road mode, sport mode, rain mode, and one customizable mode. So a rider can change their settings based on the type of riding they're doing their day or their own personal preferences.
Now they have the rain mode, the custom mode, and the road mode. And you definitely can tell the difference when you're riding in either three of them. I do use rain mode quite a bit because it seems like I'm always getting caught in the rain, which is if you ride all the time, you'll definitely experience rain riding. So I love how you definitely can feel the difference when you switch to rain mode. You can tell that the power is restricted to the wheels and you don't get as much power, and you feel safer when you're out riding because you need all the traction that you can get, including good tires. But that certainly helps out. Now, when I go to the road mode and I'm just chilling, you know, I just ride that. And no, I'm not one to be out here racing or anything, but being that the 2024s, the standard for the 2024s come with the 117, you definitely can feel that power. And as soon as I switch it to the custom mode and the slightest little twist on my throttle, it's gonna push me back in my seat.
This is kind of the buildup. Where were we before? What are we getting now? Before, Street Glide, Road Glide had 107 or a 114. You can see here the improvements, right? Just in displacement, power, torque. And then even on a 117, which we had in the lineup before, this has got more improved, better performance than that 117 previously had. 130 foot-pounds of torque, 105 horsepower, which is above what we delivered on the 117 previously.
So now that we've talked about the headlight, the infotainment center, and the different modes, I now want to switch and talk about the bags. The shorter bags that a lot of people are like, man, you're losing space. I don't like the shorter bags, but me personally, I actually love the shorter bags on these bikes. Even though they're not the stretch bags that came on the previous models or so, they actually made these bags wider. And so I don't feel like I lost any space. If anything, I actually gained space because, you know, I have speakers in my other bike. Even if I had that, I still feel like my space is not limited. I still enjoy having the shorter bags. And another reason, if you're ever looking into getting a 2-in-1 system for your bike, these shorter bags are definitely a better look for getting that system done. As opposed to on the stretch bags, when you have those, it has that extra cutout on it. And then when you don't have that pipe, or you have to get the dummy pipe over there, it just looks a little weird to me personally. So I like the shorter bag look. I'm glad they went to it. So the shorter bag look, I'm in love with. And we're finally on number 5. So last but not least, the weight of this bike. And that was one of the main selling points for this bike for me. Even though when you're talking about 800 pounds and more, you're like, a little bit of weight, what's that? It's not a big deal.
So one of the things that we wanted to focus on right away was weight. We know that if we can reduce weight, we can improve really every aspect of performance on the bike, from braking to acceleration to handling, to basically for free. So when we looked at components like the fuel tank, we reduced the thickness of the steel used to make the fuel tank and gained some weight. We also looked at changing the manufacturing process on the upper triple clamps, the aluminum upper triple clamps, and those two things alone, we were able to take 7 pounds out of the weight of the bike. So the overall effect of looking at every component that we possibly could, we reduced the weight of the Street Glide by 18 pounds and the Road Glide by 16 pounds compared to the 2023 model specials.
Just lifting this bike up off the kickstand, you automatically feel that 15-pound difference within this bike from the previous model bike. So that was another thing that sold me on this bike. A lot of women that are afraid or scared to get a bagger, or they're like thinking this bike is too heavy for them, I'm telling you now, if you go and you sit on a 2024 and you pick it up, you just might fall in love, because the weight of this bike definitely had me in awe. I loved every bit of it. And not just with the weight, just the positioning of the bars for the Road Glides in particular. How the riser sits up top and you're able to adjust your bars a lot easier than on the previous ones. You can adjust the bars to make the bike feel a little bit more manageable, to handle a little bit better. So I loved everything about that part. So if you want to keep your stock bars, it's something you can keep. You won't feel like you have to get rid of it right away. So that was another selling point for me for this bike. All right, guys, so that's pretty much well, I have several things, like I said earlier. I have several things that I can tell you why I love this bike, but I kind of narrowed it down to 5. I might have threw an extra one in there for you, but those are a couple of the reasons why I love this bike. The new 2025s will be coming out soon. The 24s are still a great option. Some people are still hesitant about buying a bike the first year, so I haven't had any issues at all with my bike. It's been working just fine, no problems at all. So all my ladies that's still out there considering, you're thinking like you might not be able to ride a bagger, you're thinking, no, those bikes are too big, it's too heavy. I'm telling you now, this bike here, or the 2024s, whether a street glide or a road glide, you won't be disappointed. So consider doing it. At least just go in, sit down, try it out for yourself, and you can see what I'm talking about. Other than that, y'all, it's super cold outside, so I'm not gonna talk y'all head off and continue to say the same thing over and over. But I do wanna tell y'all this before I head out of here. I have a couple modifications that I will be doing to Meg. I'm excited about that. I can't wait to show you guys what they are. Other than that, y'all, make sure y'all come back and check out Tiffany Renee. If you hadn't already, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. And can't wait to see y'all. Love you guys. Bye.